everyone, and welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I am Rainbow.
And Rainbow, it is back to school time for many students. I'm sure we don't have to tell you guys that because you're in school right now. Yay! And it might be your first year, maybe even your first week or month or even day at a new school. And along with all of the other things you have to get used to, new classes, teachers, classrooms, the whole school's new, you have to make new friends.
Yes.
And that can be challenging.
Wow, but it's so much fun.
It can also be great fun.
Now, I'm very curious about how you made friends at school.
I went to a lot of schools when I was quite young in different countries. I got pretty good at making friends. I would just talk to people, find out what they're interested in, and maybe I have something that I'm interested in that they are also interested in. We have common interests, and that is enough to make friends with, especially when you're kids at school. What about you?
Almost the exact same way.
Yeah, why not?
I would walk into a room and see if I had anything in common with anybody.
Sure.
So, if they were playing with, Play-Doh and that was something that I really liked, I would go over and say, I really like Play-Doh too. And they'd say, hey, why don't you join me? And we'd become friends.
There you go. They might be reading a book you like or talking about a game or a movie or a sport you're interested in. And of course, joining sports teams or school clubs, that is another way to very quickly find people with the same interest. And really, just talking to people. That's a good way to get to know them and to get to be friends. So let's find out all about Tammy and Brian, two kids at school. Maybe it's their first day. They're going to be meeting lots of new people. So let's get to our dialogue and check it out. Tammy and Brian are at school.
Hi, my name is Tammy. I am from the US.
Hi, Tammy. I am Brian, and I am from Taipei.
Taipei is a cool city. Where do you live in the city?
I live in Shiling with my parents. We have a small apartment. How about you?
So this is the first dialogue of our two-day grammar station unit, and the title we have today is Part A, About You. That's right, and talking about you or the person you're meeting is a great way to get to know them and to maybe start to become friends. And yes, Tammy and Brian are our two characters, and as it says, Tammy and Brian are at school. And maybe we can also guess that they're a little nervous. It could be the first day or something. Let's check out the dialogue and see what's happening.
All right, so Tammy says, hi, my name is Tammy. I am from the US. So that's a good way to introduce yourself, right? By saying hello, maybe shaking hands and saying,
giving someone a little wave, maybe.
Tell them where you're from.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in a new country, that already makes you kind of interesting and makes it more easy for people to find something to talk about. Oh, you're from America.
Yes.
I'm not. Let's talk about that sort of thing. So Brian is the boy that Tammy is talking to her. He sounds very happy to meet her too, and he gives her the same information back, really. He says, hi, Tammy. I am Brian, and I am from Taipei. So now they know each other's names, and they know where each other come from.
Yeah, and Tammy has something to say about Taipei. Taipei is a cool city. Where do you live in the city? So I'm sure that Tammy knows a little bit about Taipei. It sounds like she's a bit familiar. She would know maybe some areas that Brian was from.
And she also said that she likes the city. If you compliment someone, say something good about them or something, that can make things easier. She also used that term, cool to talk about a city. We can use that to talk about lots of things we like, right?
Yeah, like people can be cool.
Sure.
Music can be cool. Places can be cool. When you say cool, it just means something is great. It's pretty unique. It's like trendy. It's popular, or it's a place you like and you think it's nice. And this is just an easy way to say that someone or something is very similar to you, maybe, or you think it's wonderful. Not in a way that's like so amazing, but it's like, that's pretty cool. It's cool.
Yeah. You personally like it. And of course, sometimes people will try to tell you what's cool.
Yeah.
But don't worry about them. You decide what's cool for you.
Right.
And sometimes it can be cool just to be yourself, even if you're different from what everyone else expects or thinks. And she said that Taipei was a cool city. That's right. A city is a large place where people live together. There will be many, many people and many, many buildings. And of course, all the other things we expect to find: cars, streets, shops, companies, tall office buildings and apartment buildings. The city is the biggest area that we kind of consider where people live together. Taipei is definitely a city. Kaohsiung and Taichung are cities too. But if you go a little smaller, you might be talking about a town. Maybe Yilan might be a town. And somewhere even smaller with maybe just a few hundred people would be a village. But a city would probably be 500,000 or 1,000,000 people. A lot of people live in a city. All right, let's move on and find out where Brian lives, right? Now that we know that Tammy lives in Taipei. She asked Brian where he lives. He says, I live in Shilin with my parents. Okay, so just to the north of the big part of Taipei City, up near the Gugong, the National Palace Museum, and the Shilin Night Market. He lives up in that part of the city with his parents, okay? And he says, we have a small apartment. All right, so obviously he's not the richest guy in the world. He doesn't live in a big house on top of a mountain there in Shilin. Like most people in Taipei or in many cities, he lives in a small apartment with his parents. And then he asks for the same kind of information, or he asks the same kind of question to Tammy. In this case, he says, how about you? What about you? What is your living situation? That's right.
Right, and here we have the vocabulary word parents. So Brian says, I live with my parents. Well, who do you think those would be? It makes sense if they're students that if Brian lives with his parents, that's talking about family, right? So your parents are your mom and your dad, your mother and your father, the people who gave birth to you. So you can say, I live with my mom and dad, or I live with my parents. Now, parents isn't gendered, so it's not a boy parent or a girl parent. We don't know if it's mom or dad. We just know it's mom or dad. And you can say a parent or these are my parents. And where do they live? Well, they live in an apartment.
Yeah, and by saying I live with my parents, he also gives the idea that he doesn't have brothers and sisters, right? It's just 3 people in his family, a mom, a dad, and maybe him, Brian. And because it's just Brian and his mother and father, his parents, this small family lives in a small apartment. Now, an apartment is a type of home where people will live. Now, it's not a house. A house will be a small building that's on its own, usually with one family living inside. An apartment will be one part of a much bigger building, maybe many, many floors, and each floor might have 2 or 4 apartments. Much smaller space to live in, but much more convenient. You can live in the middle of the city in a big apartment building, and each family or each person there will have one apartment, one small area, that is their home, but it's not a house, it's an apartment. All right, let's take a break, and then we'll be back to find out more about Tammy and Brian, finding out more about Tammy and Brian. That's right. We'll find out more after the break.
I live with my family too. We have a big house and the house is in Tianmu.
That is a nice area. Do you like the area?
Yes, I do. It has many things to see and do.
Yes, it does.
All right, so Tammy responds, I live with my family too. We have a big house. Okay, different from Brian. And the house is in Tianmu. Okay, they're not that far away from each other, actually. So even though she's from America, they both live in Taiwan now.
That's right. And of course, in Tianmu, many people might have a big house. They would be lucky to live up there. But I know up on the hills and mountains around Tianmu, some folks are lucky to have a big house. And Brian, he's lived in Taipei a long time, remember? So he knows Tianmu. He knows that area or that neighborhood. So he says that is a nice area. Yeah, a lot of people would like to live up there. I sometimes think it takes so long to get into Taipei. But
they don't really leave Tianmu.
I guess so, but once you're at home in Tianmu, it is a nice area, much quieter than living in the city. And he asks, because Tammy maybe just moved there a little while ago, he asks her, do you like the area? You're new to Taiwan, new to Tianmu. Do you like that area? Now, an area is not really one set thing, but it's a smaller part of a larger region, all right? Often cities are really big, right? Many kilometers from one side to the other, north, south, east, west. So often in our minds, when we look at the city or the way the city has grown over the years, or the things that people do in this city are a little different depending on what smaller section or area of the city you are thinking of. The Taipei 101 area has many tall buildings, many shopping centers, movie theaters. Not many people might live in that area, but some of the other areas like Yonghe or Sancheng around Taipei, these areas have a lot more apartment buildings. And then we have shopping areas, we have areas with schools and universities maybe. So this is the way we kind of break up the city in our minds about what goes on and who lives in these smaller parts or these smaller areas. So, does she like that area of Tianmu?
Yes, because everybody loves that area, right? So Tammy says, yes, I do. It has many things to see and do. That's true. There are shopping malls, movie theaters, there's a night market. That's why sometimes people who live there don't really leave the area.
All right, well, Brian knows that. He's probably visited Tianmu many times, and he agrees. He says, yes, it does. It is a nice place to live, and he's not surprised that she likes it there. Lots of people do. All right, guys, that's all the time we have. It looks like Tammy and Brian are becoming friends, and we'll be back tomorrow with more dialogue. So please come back and join us for that. Until then, all the best. Be well, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye!
Bye!
Tammy and Brian are at school.
Hi, my name is Tammy. I am from the US.
Hi, Tammy. I am Brian, and I am from Taipei.
Taipei is a cool city. Where do you live in the city?
I live in Shiling with my parents. We have a small apartment. How about you?
I live with my family too. We have a big house and the house is in Tianmu.
That is a nice area. Do you like the area?
Yes, I do. It has many things to see and do.
Yes, it does.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看这个的重点单字。第一个 cool， 形容词，很棒的，酷炫的。 Your new jacket is cool. 你的新夹克很酷。下一个单字 parent, 双亲之一。Both of my parents have retired. 我的父母都退休了。Retire 指的是退休。下一个单字 apartment, 名词，公寓。Zach sold his apartment last month. Zach 上个月卖掉他的公寓了。最后一个单字 area, 名词，地区，区域。We are exploring the downtown area of the city. 我们正在探索城市的市中心地区。Explore 指的是探索 ，downtown 指的是市中心的。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 ，somebody is from place， 某人来自某地，也可以说 somebody comes from place。From 是介系词，指的是从哪里来。我们来看看这个例句 ：My parents come from South Korea。我的父母来自南韩。下一个文法 ，A lives with B。A 和 B 同住 ，live 是居住的意思，它的后面要先加上介系词 with， 再接受词。live 的后面可以用 in、on、at 等介系词来接地点。我们来看看这个例句 ：I live in London with my sister。我和我的妹妹一起住在伦敦。最后一个文法 ，How about you？ 那你呢？这是一个固定的用法，用于反问对方的情境。我们来看看这个对话。I like chocolate. How about you? 我喜欢巧克力，那你呢？ I like chips. 我喜欢洋芋片。以上就是这一课的重点单词跟文法，我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Today, we are taking a trip to Dafuxing Temple in Chiayi. Now, this temple is really special because it is over 300 years old. The purpose of going to this temple is to worship the earth god. So you can go to this temple and ask for all the people in that area, or maybe all of Taiwan, to be healthy and prosperous. You can do things like buabui, and you can just go there to basically see the beautiful scenery and history of this impressive temple. So let's take a look at it.
There is a temple in Chiayi City called the Dafuxing Temple. After Zheng Qinggong expelled the Dutch from Taiwan, the people built this temple to seek peace and pray for the crop harvest. The temple is mainly for the worship of Fu De Zhengshen and Yue Lao as well. It has a history of more than 300 years. Fu De Zhengshen is the so-called earth god, and is one of the most common gods in Chinese folk religion. In traditional agricultural society, worshipping the earth god means worshipping the land. Today, it means praying for blessings, wealth, safety, and agricultural harvests. Worshippers usually pray through some formal behaviors, and burning incense is one of them. It is for the gods to smell the scent, and hear the prayers through the rising smoke. You can also throw 2 half-moon-shaped pieces of wood, if you want to ask the gods for answers. This is called buabui. You can even get poems after drawing lots to know the gods' will. These ceremonies imply the believer's respect for the gods, reflects the traditional folk religion, and serves as the people's spiritual comfort. On the 5th day of the Lunar New Year, there is also a throwing embroidered ball event at Dafuxing Temple. Ladies throw the ball, and men who catch the ball can come onto the stage. Then, staff dressed as Yue Lao will help them to get to know each other, so that single men and women may tie the knot through the blessing of the gods.
So if you live in Taiwan, you know how many temples there are where you can go to worship the Tudigong, or the earth god. This one's really special because of how old it is and how much history is there. I love going to those kind of temples and just knowing this has been here for hundreds of years. The one thing that's really special about this one, it's where you can go and meet the person you're going to marry. If you go there during the Lunar New Year on the 5th day, women will throw an embroidered ball, Men catch it, and then they go on stage and meet each other. Hopefully, they will connect and they will have the blessings of the gods to get married. So if you're single, maybe that's the place you need to go. See you next time.